Dr. Savani Duff suggests that, as in many pre-Islamic African religious traditions, circumcision, polygamy, communal prayers, divination, and amulet making were also present in Islam, which aided in the ease to conversion.
Well, my home's in the Delta, way out on.
Millions of West Africans were imported into the United States and the Caribbean, draining Africa of valuable human capital. It is estimated that nearly 30% of these captured Africans were Muslims. For nearly 400 years, enslaved Africans constituted the sole Muslim population in the Americas. Slavery in the Americas was a vastly different experience for West African Muslims. American slavery was lifelong and generational. Many European Christian enslavers viewed the religion of Islam as a threat, particularly the Spanish and the Portuguese, who had been under the rule of Muslim Moors for 700 years, from 711 AD to 1492. Oftentimes, there were forced conversions to Christianity. Muslims had to adjust their faith practices to fit the confinement of slavery, and this meant being creative with the practice of Islam. Many would publicly convert to Christianity, but secretly practice the religion of Islam in private. Abd al-Rahman Ibrahima was a Muslim prince from West Africa who was captured and sold into slavery. Through a strange series of events, he was eventually freed. In Ibrahima's story, there is an example of how some enslaved Muslims adjusted their faith to their new context. It was reported that Ibrahima was a Christian, and when asked to prove his Christianity by writing the Lord's Prayer, he resourcefully wrote the opening of the Quran, Fatiha. In 1807, the United States Congress abolished the importation of slaves. The act prohibited the import of slaves into any port or place within the jurisdiction of the United States from any foreign kingdom, place, or country. These words effectively severed enslaved Africans in the New World from any bond to Africa and erased many African cultural practices, including the practice of Islam. Without the importation of new Africans, Islam was virtually removed. Marcus Mosiah Garvey was a student of the Pan-Africanist Dusé Muhammad Ali, and the organization that Garvey founded, the Universal Negro Improvement Association, played a major role in influencing the way African American Islam would be expressed in the United States. Although Garvey was a Roman Catholic convert, he infused many Islamic teachings and ideas into his organization, including the idea of the unity of God. The founder of the Nation of Islam is a man named Farad Muhammad, and essentially, the Nation of Islam must be viewed as both an ideological and organizational offspring of Marcus Garvey's Universal Negro Improvement Association, the Moorish Science Temple, and the traditional Black Church. This amalgamation created a Christo-Islamic hybrid that was nationalistic, Bible-based, ecclesiastical, and used the Quran and Islam as supplements. In Black Islamic particularism, Elijah Muhammad is the benchmark and standard. The accomplishments during his reign at the helm of the Nation of Islam are unmatched by any Black organization, Islamic or not. He led the organization from 1934 to 1975. To put his administration in appropriate historical context, in 1934, Dr. Martin Luther King was 5 years old, and Malcolm X was 9. And when Elijah Muhammad died in 1975, Dr. King had been deceased for 7 years and Malcolm X a full decade. Elijah Muhammad's Islam was vastly different from Sunni Orthodox Islam. His Islam was a mixture of Christianity, black nationalism, mysticism, and Quranic teachings. Under Elijah Muhammad, the Nation of Islam would write a chapter in the American narrative that would have a long-lasting impact on the country and the Islamic world. The organization is arguably the most successful black nationalist organization in history. Muhammad's leadership oversaw the building of a nationwide infrastructure that included schools, an international import business, bakeries, office buildings, print shops, and a black national newspaper. Wherever Muslims lived, they established small business associated with the local temple, including barbershops, bakeries, clothing stores, and restaurants. Many non-Muslims patronized these establishments. Still more businesses were established and owned by Elijah Muhammad personally. In 1975, Elijah Muhammad died, and his son, Imam Warathddin Muhammad, took over the Nation of Islam and converted the organization into an Orthodox Sunni Islamic organization. 3 years later, Minister Louis Farrakhan separated from Imam Warathddin Muhammad and resurrected the Nation of Islam with the original teachings of Elijah Muhammad. For 40 years, black Islamic expression has existed somewhere in the center of this dichotomy, attempting to find a balance between the universal and the particular, separatism and inclusion, mainstream and counterculture, with both communities embracing in some fashion nationalism and orthodoxy.